Alrighty, where's my clipboard? So today we're going to be talking about the Hi-Tech Pharmaceuticals, one testosterone. One testosterone by Hi-Tech. It's one of their prohormones. I haven't seen a lot of reviews for these type of things. I know that a lot of people are taking them and using them. We get lots of questions about them, and we also sell a ton of them. So we got a little clipboard with some charts here. Prepare it up, kind of explaining how these things work. So it's just going to be a little prohormone, one testosterone by Holtz. What are the results on these little guys? Okay, so these tablets here are 110 milligrams per serving. It's really important to understand, you guys, that when you're taking a prohormone, you got to take the right dosage. If you don't take enough of the substance, it's not going to you're not going to grow. It's just like even like if you have a half a chicken, that's dinner. You're probably going to grow. So with these guys here, 110 milligrams a tab, 220 milligrams a day, they're liposomal bonded. That's really important because that means the active plant molecule, the DHEA substance, is encased in plant fats and lipids. So that way when it goes through the stomach acid, it doesn't die in the stomach acid or the liver enzymes or the bile or anything like that. It makes it through the liver into the bloodstream. Then that liposomes come off and then delivers the active hormone to the androgen receptors of the muscle tissue. So where do these hormones come from? A lot of people like to ask that. And the hormones, for the most part, I mean, you can find these things like Scott's pine pollen. You can do a PubMed. I think it's PubMed.gov. You can go look that up. So human testosterone has been found in Scott's pine pollen. I think it's androstenediol or dione, one of the androstenedione, offshoots of DHEA that all convert to testosterone. That's found in Scott's pine pollen. That's pine pollen in general, excuse me. And then, so all pine pollen has androstenediol. I'm just going to say diol because maybe someone can correct me there. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have that in my notes. And all pine pollen also has DHEA in it. The usual cited source of DHEA is going to be Mexican wild yam root, but that's not near as abundant as what you'd have in the pine pollen for body into some structure similar in effect to DHT. Let's see. Your connection. Well, I think lost connection for a second. Okay, so that's where a lot of these substances can come from, pine pollen. And then in our studies over the last 10 years, we found, and also talking to doctors and university scientists and whatnot, we found that the human body has a whole lot in common as far as hormonally with pine trees. It's really kind of interesting. It's really interesting. We have more in common with as far as the hormones and pine trees than we do in like fish or other little creatures, which is kind of neat. So am I pointing the right one? There we go. If you got DHEA, it's going to convert into the androstenedione, or it will convert into the androstenediol, and then either one of those would convert into the active testosterone. I got some charts down here on the different hormones. We'll go through that here in a little bit. So yeah, with these guys here, they work pretty well as far as prohormones go. If you were to use them as a standalone, you'd probably want to double the dose and be up there at about 440 milligrams a day. If most people, however, for the DHEA substances, they would be using them in about 800 to 1,000 milligrams a day, or up to 1,400 milligrams a day. I think there were some university studies that show the one andro was doing some pretty good muscle building at the 800 to 1,000 milligrams a day. So keep in mind, these are shorter acting. They have about a 6-hour half-life in your body. So you'd want to dose at least twice a day for real positive usage there. And a lot of people would stack them in combination. That's one of the things that we've gotten really good at over the years, is understanding how to mix these with like 4-andro and 1,4-andro and 19-norandro and some other substances, so you can get that a really good balance of your hormones at a let's say 800 to 1,200 milligram daily dose. And that dosage right there is giving the good quality pro-hormone effects like people used to get pre-2014 before the big ban happened, that banned the main 5 ingredients there. So you can still get some pretty awesome results. You just got to know how to use them. It's kind of like it's kind of like lifting weights. I mean, you can have a whole weight room you can go to, but if you don't know how to work out properly or you're doing it wrong, you're not going to get it. Goes a long way. So this is what we've been seeing with clients. We've been selling this stuff since 2000. I want to say 2015 is when these guys came out. And we've been selling them, so it's about 5 years now. So we've had, I think, we probably sold quite a few 100,000 bottles because we have multiple retail stores and we have the website, bigdansfitness.com. So we're blasting these things out left and right all the time. And when the customers call up and be like, yeah, I tried your guys' stuff and it worked really, really good, and this were my gains and blah, blah, blah. I gained like 15 pounds in a couple months and maintained most of it on my post-op. But then I spent like fucking $300 on this other stuff from these other guys and it didn't work. And most of that, honestly, isn't necessarily a bad product. It's that they're just not taking the dosage of that product into account, and they're not running a proper blend, because most other websites out there on the market, they're mixing products just on like what looks cool or what's profitable, and that doesn't help you guys. So it's going to be advantageous for the clientele to create word of mouth advertising in the gyms. That's where all our clientele exists, is all in a gym somewhere, all across the country or across the world. That's kind of where everyone's at. So if you're working out and your buddy just like suddenly puts on like, a whole bunch of muscle and is blowing past you in strength, and he goes from like a large to an extra large shirt, and his abs are showing, and you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? What do you got? What's your secret? And they're like, well, I went to this website and they sent me this cool little shaker cup. We'll usually throw shaker cups in orders, $5 cup for free. It's got our info on it. And these guys will tell their buddies about it. And the majority, we're not the best at advertising. We're really not. So if you're a really good marketer, you should probably hit us up, because we could scale really well. But as far as the word of mouth advertising with the products, I think we got stuff that works. And when that stuff works, people talk. And then those people that see the guy use it in front of their face, they come by, which is how we built our business. So the one test, these guys here, we're going to go over the difference between DHEA and a 1 DHEA or 1 andro, because we've had a lot of the apprehensiveness to buying these new Prohormones. There'll be people saying stupid stuff in comments on Facebook posts or wherever it may be, like, oh, I could just go to Walmart and buy DHEA for like $5, and it's true, you can. However, there's a really, really important situation we're going to get in here with this chart and this fork. I'm gonna use this side. That's my pointer. Boop. So that is a carbon bond at the 5th position. This is regular DHEA. This is the stuff you can get at the department stores. In a male body, if it is carbon bond 5, it's most likely going to convert to estrogen. In a woman's body, if it's carbon bond 5, it can most likely convert to testosterone. So keep that in mind. Now over here, we have the 1 andro. Now you'll notice that it is carbon bond at the 1st position. This is very, very important you know this, because you'll see a lot of dosed up looking products. There's plenty of on the market we can name that are a whole bunch of that stuff in there, making it look like there's 300 or 400 milligrams, but that stuff doesn't help you. These hormones will help. There's a couple more of them, but I couldn't find charts on them, so I'm going to have to go create those. I have to go look for the 19-nor for one of the future videos and such. Anyways, so with this guy here, you got carbon bond on number 1 position. That's going to make it convert into a 1 testosterone. Again, regular DHEA, not helpful. And a man is going to convert to estrogen for the most part. And then bond 1, that converts to 1-testosterone. 1-test, the characteristics of that hormone are going to be moderate strength gains, decent strength gains, and then you're going to have rather lean muscle gain. And none of it's going to convert to estrogen. So that's cool. It's considered to be a version of boldenone, kind of. Usually a boldenone would be like equipoise. We would consider like equipoise a boldenone, D-ball's a boldenone, truinabol, 4-chlorodimethyl testosterone, that is a boldenone, and that would be carbon 1 and carbon 4. So that's a carbon 4. We'll go over to those in a future video with the 4-androne testosterone information. But so regular boldenones would have a 1 and a 4 bond, and that'd be like equipoise. It'd be non-methylated boldenone. But this is apparently it's a boldenone with no 4 bond on it. Anyways, so it's going to be more anabolic than it is androgenic. Androgenic is the masculine side effects, the square jaw, the hair, facial hair, deeper voice, all that type of stuff. And then the anabolic portion, as you guys may know, is primarily the muscle, size, strength, recovery, protein synthesis portion that gives you more of the performance enhancement. So it is advantageous to use a compound that is more anabolic than it is androgenic, because there's pretty much no side effects when you hit really highly anabolic with no androgenic stuff. Okay, liver toxicity. Liposomal bonded means it's not liver toxic, so that's really important. So you can take these for prolonged periods of time. There's a lot of dudes on TRT that will use these things for prolonged periods of time along with their TRT to help out. Testosterone's a 100 to 100 anabolic to androgenic ratio, so you're going to get estrogen conversion with that stuff. But that's another video that we'll have for the 4-andro. So I better not get ahead of myself. I apologize about my rambling. I'm just, it's about midnight and I'm over at the office. So I'm just like, you know what? Let's just do this because it's been years, and I'm just going to just be shitty and throw this information out there, and you guys can sift through it if you really want to know, because everyone else in the internet that's talking about prohormones is wrong. I've never seen really anyone right in my 10 years of being in the industry. Like, everyone's wrong. As far as like people on forums and people talking about this stuff online, no one knows what the hell they're talking about. We have a pharmacist that works part-time for us. He's a clinical pharmacist, and he told me that I know more about steroids than most doctors. And it's one of those things where you have to watch people. You have to talk to experts. We got friends that have an anti-aging clinic up in Spokane, Washington, and one of those people that helped found the original one before they made their second evolution, he's a professional bodybuilder, and he coached a lot of people. So, I mean, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that's not going to be taught in colleges to doctors, and that's kind of where you have to be able to go out there and find people that are going to know stuff. Other than that, like people you guys might be able to find, I'd say watch Anabolic Doc and watch Dave Palumbo's Ask Dave, because those guys are a wealth of knowledge. Got Dave Palumbo. He's a super awesome pro bodybuilder, and he coached, probably thousands of athletes, I would assume, and that guy's super smart. So you should definitely go watch his videos. He's the owner of Species Nutrition. Came up with a lot of great stuff. But back to the product here. Anyways, so leaner gains, decent muscle gain. So that's cool. So you can gain muscle with this. The strength gains are going to be better than 4-andro, better than 19-nor, not quite as much as epiandrosterone. So there is so that's why a lot of people will mix the 4-andro, the 1-andro, and the epiandro together. And if you're going to be doing like, I don't know, like a tab of this, a 4-andro, and maybe 150 milligram epiandro 3 times a day, you're going to be in that 1,000 milligram range really, really easy. And that's going to put some ridiculous size and strength on. There is a product that we used to stock that is no longer manufactured that had those, it basically had those ingredients built into each tab, and people blew up on that. The other thing that we do as far as getting to know these products and stuff, we have an InBody 570 in a couple of our stores. And if you would like to just go and look up InBody machines, they're body composition machines. And a body composition machine is going to be it's going to be something where you can get on there. It tells you what your weight is, of course. It tells you what your body fat is. It tells you what your muscle mass. It tells you your visceral fat. It'll tell you your water retention. It'll give you a whole bunch of breakdowns and stuff. So if a client comes in and we get them, we get them set up on all their stuff, whatever, and then we're gonna say, hey, let's go get you a free scan. We're not going to charge them. We get them to take a picture of everything, so it's going to be in their phone, so they don't lose it. Because as soon as that piece of paper hits their car, it's gone. It's just how it is. And then we want them to come check in with us every 2 weeks, and we don't charge them for the scans. And that's an expensive machine, extremely expensive. It's like almost as much as a used good car. But anyways, so using those machines, we've been able to see people with dramatic increases in muscle and decreases in body fat. Plus the strength gains have been good. If you go to my Facebook channel, that's not a Facebook channel. If you go to my Facebook, I constantly just do like on the spot interviews with people in the gym that are using stuff from our stores, and people like to brag it up. They're doing good and they're making some progress and stuff. So they will get out there and they'll take a minute to go talk to us about the results they're getting. It's pretty neat. And we've had people with andro prohormones. I think the most we've had people gain in 2 months on cycle would be about 20 pounds. And that would probably not be all muscle. I'd say like on the in-body machine, the most we've seen was like 16, 17 pounds in 2 months of actual muscle. And the rest is water rate retention. We've got some combos, and that's not just this alone. That's in a cocktail of andros. Then the next big thing is people are going to ask, does it shut you down? Like, bro, it shuts you down. No, prohormones don't shut you down. That is incorrect. So an oral hormone, depending on how strong it bonds and how close it is to testosterone, and plus, like some of the experts I mentioned before, you can go and watch those guys talk about, suppression. I mean, that's really what we're dealing with. If you inject a nandrolone like Trendedeca, that shuts it down. That's a 99% suppression in a lot of cases. So with a prohormone, we're really seeing over the years that we've had dudes do hormone tests, because we live in a blue collar or factory area. We have a lot of factories and mills. So a lot of these guys have their insurance. They got good insurance. They all go to the same doctors, the same clinics, same hospitals here in town. And we suggest, like, hey, when you go get your yearly checkup that your insurance pays for, because you got your insurance, make sure we write it down for them. You get these things checked, and I want you to bring it in, and we'll give you a fucking free protein bar and a free VPX bang and a free t-shirt if you can do that. And so dudes will actually go do that. And I think it's really, really cool. So we can actually go see where their hormones were, because a lot of them will do their hormone checks. We tell everyone to do that that's a customer of ours, even if they're not using this stuff. So that way we can kind of get a baseline for everyone. Because I think every 18-year-old kid should just absolutely, as soon as you turn 18, go get a hormone check, whether you're using any kind of an anabolic or not. I don't suggest people that young do that anyways. But I think when you turn 21, go get a hormone check. Make sure that way you can kind of get a baseline, because one of the epidemics we're seeing in the United States is just low testosterone in general. So I'm thinking that's why we're seeing a lot of people being smaller than they used to be. And people are having more trouble putting on muscle than they used to. So people are buying a lot more of these type of things. So yeah, suppression, like you're going to see like maybe a 20-30% suppression as far as your testosterone. And what happens afterwards? If you do a post cycle anywhere half-ass decent on these things, you're going to come back to normal for your testosterone. And that's not, I mean, if you're going to do that like a handful of times, you're probably not going to have any kind of a problem. If you're going to do it like, for decades, I'm sure you could see like a hastened decrease in testosterone, perhaps. But as far as that goes, I don't think you're really going to have that big of an issue. We've never really had anyone come back and be like, hey, I used a prohormone cycle and now my dick doesn't work. That's just never really happened. I mean, we've used to sell really heavy duty stuff as well. The good old powerful stuff. And no one even had any problems with that. I mean, like, worst case scenario, you have some guys calling every now and then back in the old days when they'd get some gyno. And because they're predisposed to gyno and they're using ADHD medication and smoking a whole bunch of marijuana and they're eating a whole bunch of soy, and then they get some gyno. Okay, well, better get some letrozole, man. Research chems. And that usually takes it away. Let's see. Other things we should cover with one andro. Oh, I'd say duration of cycle. The deal is with these non-methylated hormones, it takes a little bit for it to build up in your body. So a lot of customers are going to be like, whoa, I got a bottle. It was cool for the first 2 weeks. Third week, I could tell it was kicking in. That was really cool. Then the week 4, it just took off. And everything was just like, whoa, everything's going really, really good. I'm leaning up, I'm getting harder. I'm definitely looking bigger. I'm seeing the transformation. The strength is really coming in. Now it's time to stop. Do I post-cycle? Well, you can run these things for anywhere 8 to 12 weeks, because like I said, like I was just kind of describing, the first 4 weeks is going to be, part of it's going to be a loading phase. But I mean, even with testosterone injections, when you guys got guys on TRT, like they don't see results for like almost the first month, and then the second or third month is when they start to finally see something on testosterone injections. At least a cypionate ester. I mean, that's a relatively fast-acting ester, 6-day. But let's see. Other things to cover about this stuff. I'd say, a lot of people are going to be wanting to just buy one bottle to play with it. I think one bottle, you could do something. 2 bottles is going to be better. Doubling the dose, getting 4 bottles for 2 months. If it's just this one substance, I think that could do pretty decent for someone. Another good thing you could do to limit the suppression would be take a natural testosterone booster on cycle. The tribesterone by Hi-Tech would be another great one because it is 100 milligrams of protodiosine per tablet. And we'll do a video on that eventually. And let's see here. That if you elevate your natural testosterone and whatnot, well, you're taking a prohormone. That's something that actually does stuff. Like you're going to boost testosterone and then have the extra testosterone like substance, like the one andro on top of it. So that way you can kind of like get a little bigger boost, so to say, and then you don't have as much trouble coming off of your prohormone cycle. So that's definitely a good thing to have right there. Post cycles on these things, I think the Arimiplex by Hi-Tech does pretty good. I'd say stack the Arimiplex with the Hi-Tech Blastrone, which is their heavy duty testosterone booster. And anyone that says testosterone boosters doesn't work, we've got a lot of dudes that have done blood work with that particular one, and someone that did blood work with the tribesterone and Blastrone in conjunction, because they are 2 different things. And they had really good blood work come in. And yeah, I'd say take an estrogen blocker like that. Was it the Arimiplex and the Blastrone for boost test, block the estrogen down, create an advantageous environment for your new muscle tissue to reach muscle maturity. I mean, we're not bringing it back from zero. We don't need Novadex. We don't need Clomid. We don't need HCG because your testicles are not completely shut down for months and months. They're not laying dormant, for crying out loud. They're just like inhibited a little bit because you're adding extra hormones in, and that kind of throws things off a little bit. Like I said, we've, out of hundreds of thousands of bottles of these type of things, these prohormones, we've never had anyone come into the store. I mean, we're in small towns. Like we see our customers like damn near every day at the gym. If there was a problem, they're going to fucking tell us. But yeah, so far we've really got there's no real side effects to this stuff. I don't even think we've had a gyno report for quite some time, but we do suggest you use estrogen blockers commonly with the prohormone stack. So, I mean, if you're running an estrogen blocker, you're probably not going to have any kind of even like a Arimistane would be just fine, or Estrogenex. Those guys there would be just dandy to run on cycle. Let's see here. So as far as the results go, does it work? Yeah. If you were to run just one bottle a month for, let's say, a couple months, you're probably going to have like maybe a 30 pound increase on strength is what I would assume. And you're probably going to have about maybe in a 2 month of just this by itself, maybe 10 pounds, 5 pounds a month. And you're probably going to lean up a little bit. And if you're running it in a bit of a cocktail, you could see, 9 pounds. We've had guys that when we're in bodying them, 9 pounds of lean muscle in the first 4 weeks. And that's like running some of the other products that are also, liposomal bonded andro complexes in their cocktails. And the only real downside to these type of things is price per dosage. I think most of the people to it, but at the same time, like I'd say this stuff compared to steroids, you can't run the oral steroids for the most part, for long periods of time because they're all very hepatotoxic. Part of that would come from it may be methylated substance, and then part of it could also come from the quality of the ingredients. If the ingredients are not quality and they're making them in China or India or something, then you're going to be having ingredients that are, they got heavy metal toxicity, that have other chemicals in there. Those could control hormone itself. So having a quality product is important. I like Hi-Tech and the Hi-Tech family of brands because in their factory, the testing facility where they do test each lot of ingredient that is what's on the label. And that's a really big deal. And I don't know any other company that goes to that extent who go test their raw ingredients. Please wait while I'll try and reconnect. We're losing connection. Okay, we're back. So sorry I'm rambling on. It's almost 1 a.m. here. But yeah, as far as this stuff goes, 1 andro converts to 1 testosterone. You're going to get some decent size and strength gains. There's going to be a lean gain off of it. Strength gains is going to be fairly decent. Another comparison we get questions is how do they compare to SARMs? I would say, unless you're injecting the SARM, which again, look out because you don't know what you're getting. I would say the andro prohormones, when mixed correctly in their stacks, can be more effective than SARMs. And I know Enhanced Athlete, they've done some recent tests, but usually they're taking testosterone and trenolone with it. So I don't know if that would be the same type of thing as not taking a testosterone. Oh, another good question is, do I have testosterone because your body's still making testosterone? The only real reason why you need to inject testosterone is if your testosterone is really low, or you need it to be replaced because you're injecting nandrolone so you can have that testosterone there for bodily function. So, I don't know. Maybe you guys can throw some comments or questions in the comments below, or just hit us up on Facebook, bigdansfitness.com on Facebook. You can give us a call at 208-816-8396 anytime. Someone's usually around to answer the phone. And we can go and answer all your questions on this stuff. And again, like my opinion on this product, I've seen, we've got thousands of customers for our local customers, thousands and thousands of them that have used, probably got hundreds of thousands nationwide that have bought these from us. And, they come back and they buy more stuff. They call in, they ask us questions. So dealing with just tons and tons of people, like I'm not some fucking bird flipper that's just like, bro, let me tell you to get huge by taking this because it worked for me. I've taken this stuff. I've taken some stronger stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that I've tried that don't work as good as this. So if anyone wants for like a first-time Prohormone, this wouldn't be a bad one at all. I think as far as lean, dry gains, be pretty good. And maybe I'll delete this video sometime and put a better one up or something. Other than that, real quick, I'm sure we're probably going to have some questions on how they convert. And if you're not asking that, you should be. So here we have the trying to grab onto this guy. So here we have the 1-DHEA. That converts into 1-AD, and that could be 2 oxygens, or it's going to be the other guys, hydroxyls. Those are 2 hydroxyls there. And then that would be the 1-testosterone, where it's hydroxyl at the 17A position and the 3B's of oxygen right there. I think that will show you. So that's kind of the function, that's kind of the conversion they make in the human body and stuff. And we'll just go over this chart real quick. My sloppy little breakdown on this stuff. How does your body make hormones? We eat food, we get cholesterol. That turns into progesterone. And then you got your progesterones over here, cortisol, aldosterone, all that stuff. And then your progesterone can turn into DHEA. So this is the normal. So this is what we're putting into our body with the particular carbon bonds for it to go into a certain position. And then you got the androstenedione and androstenediol. Then it goes down into testosterone, and that could go over to DHT, or it can go to the estradiols and estrogen. So we want to keep our testosterone, and hopefully we can not aromatize it. And that's about that. So hopefully I'll start doing better at making videos and talking about this. Maybe come up with a game plan next time. But characteristics, we'll probably do the, was it androdiol? They're 4-andro next. They're 1-ADs, kind of the same thing as what we just covered, just lower dose with laxogen built in. And then we'll go over some of the other stuff. Then we're going to go over stacking in the future as well. And that's where it's going to get. I appreciate you sticking around. And check us out at bigdansfitness.com.